Welcome back. This unit is on buttons and the Model View Controller, or MVC, design pattern. We've got some really cool apps that we're going to be looking at here. Fairly simple, got a lot of similarities, but I think you're going to find them fun here. The first one is just one that's going to click, whenever we click on here, it's going to count our button presses. Second one is a two-player tic-tac-toe game. And the third one is one called Lights Out, where we're trying to make some buttons. The values of these guys match each other, and they toggle along with the neighbors whenever we click them. So it's maybe not that challenging, but kind of fun here. So the kind of things that we're going to have to learn to be able to do this, first of all, is going to be able to create user interfaces or UIs to specification. Second, certainly we're going to need to know how to use buttons. Third, we're going to be looking at various resource values like strings, colors, and how we're going to use those in our layouts and in our code. Next, we're going to see how Android actually supports the MVC pattern, what it gives you for free and what you need to do on your own. And then finally, we'll see one little thing here, certainly from tic-tac-toe here, that we're going to be having to create a table for our buttons. All right, so in this lesson, this first video right here, we're going to learn how to create a new Android project. Not that hard, but what we want to be able to do is to understand all the different things that we're given. So I'm going to bring up Eclipse here. All right, and I just have a blank workspace. And the way that we do this is you can do File, New, Android Application Project. Or if I just want to right-click in here, I get the same place, New Android Application Project. And application name, I'm going to call this first one today Hello Button. And what I'm going to ask you to do in this class is that you always put your initials or your username, something that you can put in there to identify yourself. I know a couple of you have the same initials, so just go ahead and make sure that yours are unique with your classmates. But this one right here I'm going to call Hello Button, and my initials are MB. So my project name, I'm just going to let it stay as is. The package name here, you'll notice, is a reverse URL. So what we're going to do, since we have Rose-Hulman, is pretty much do edu.roseholman. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my username here, Sabautel, and then Hello Button is the name of my app. Right? All right, and again, I want something that's unique for every project that I create. The next thing is to set the different SDKs here. So I actually have SDK 4.3 and 4.4 installed right now. Feel free to use either one of those. 4.3 works a little bit better on the emulator. It seems that there's a bug right now in the 4.4 emulator where you can't rotate the screen. But if you're using a device, it shouldn't be an issue. So I'm going to leave those as defaults. The minimum required one, what I'm actually going to do is bump this guy up to 4.03 ice cream sandwich. Not that that's a huge deal. I mean, the main reason that I do it right here is honestly, if I use anything lower, then it's going to stub in another what's called a support package for backwards compatibility to some of the older SDKs, and I just don't want to deal with that. I'm only going to be running this on Android 4 phones anyway, when I run them. Feel free to do what you like, but I think 4.3 works out pretty well. Let's go ahead to our next screen. All right, this one right here, all the defaults should be fine. So it's going to create an icon for us and an activity. That's fine. That's actually just going to bring us to other pages in our wizard. So I'm going to continue. All right, so we get to choose our icon. You know, you can, if you had an image, you could pop this in here. Let's see, clip art or text. Actually, what I'm going to do is for text, I'm just going to call mine hello and then my initials and put a circle around it. And it makes a nice little icon. Pretty simple to do. Feel free to change things like colors and mess around with some of these settings if you want. But basic stuff works fine. Clicking next here. Pretty much in this class, I'm always going to start off with a blank activity. All right, so easy enough to deal with. And then in my final screen here is also going to be okay, so it's just going to ask what do we want to call our activity itself. An activity is just a screen in Android, and the defaults, again, are going to work here just fine. So click Finish. Okay, and it might take a second to load up there. But what I'm going to do is see what we have, right? Kind of walk through some of the starting code, and then we'll actually blow a few things away, honestly. So here's my project, right? We see that the name that I chose is the name of my Eclipse project. If I look inside source here, I'm going to see my package name that I chose, and inside will be that activity that I created, right? So this is going to be main activity. Next, I'm going to look down at resources. I'll find a couple things here. So the next thing is I have resources. We'll see that I have like a whole bunch of different folders here for things that are drawable on the screen. And if I look at the one, this is high density here, or high resolution. I click on the launcher icon. If I launch that guy, we see we have the little icon that we created. All right, and let's see some other things. So layout, okay, so it's going to create a basic plain layout right here in activity main. There's a fragment here. We're actually going to blow that away in a second. Let's see, what else do we have? Values, right? So we have dimensions and strings and styles. I'm going to come back to strings in a minute as well. And let's go down to a very interesting file here called the Android manifest. Right, this is where your app keeps a lot of settings. So when it comes up here, I'm going to go overhead and just look at the raw XML. So we can choose different tabs here, and just step through a few of these things. Right. So first of all, again, we see our package name, version 1, the different SDK versions that we had chosen are all listed right here, and then of course references to some things like the icon, the name of our app, the theme that it's going to be using, and again which activity is it going to start with. It turns out it's very, very interesting here. So main activity we'll see as part of this activity tag, and within it also has an intent filter. And if we notice here that it says that within this filter that it's main and that it's the one that's launched. Right. So if I had a bunch of different activities and wanted to know which one was going to be launched, it's the one that has the intent filter right here. And that's pretty much everything that's in there. Now you might wonder, well, this label says right here that it's string app name. Well, where does that come from? What is this at string? And it turns out that this is a reference to this strings XML file, right? So let's go ahead and open that guy, and we'll see that there is an app name right here, and that's just the name that I chose for my app. If I want to look at the raw XML, see that it's right here, right? So app name, hello button MB, and it also had a couple other things that it was using just as part of the Hello World project. Okay, so that's a little bit about the files that were given. It turns out that even when you create a blank one, it gives you some stuff that you're not going to need in all your apps. Right? So the first thing here is that it's creating this fragment for me. Fragments can be nice if we want to create apps that work on phones and tablets, and we wanted different layouts for each. But certainly for our introductory stuff, I'm not going to worry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. I don't have a menu in this simple app. So the next two methods here, we'll see both have to do with menus on create options menu and on options selected. So let's go ahead and delete those. And then finally, there's one more here for a fragment, right? Which I said I'm not going to deal with. So I can fit the starting code in a very small thing here. If I hit Control-Shift-O, it's going to organize my imports, and I'm going to be using that same thing whenever I want to add necessary imports for things that I want to use or get rid of old ones. So Control-O, Control-Shift-O, and it's going to make all those extra ones go away. Those are just the ones that had to do with fragments and so on. All right, and then I'm going to go down to my layout, and I'm going to change some things. So my fragment, I'm going to delete this guy. Do I want to delete it? Yes, indeed. And then I'm going to go back to activity main, my fragment, and this is probably going to complain now because it was expecting me to have a fragment in here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this guy, delete it, save it, and then I want to create what's called a relative layout inside it. So I'm going to go back to the graphical layout here. Easy thing to do is just go in and grab a layout from the choice here, so a relative layout. I'm going to go ahead and drag that guy right in here, and that's going to make another blank layout. It no longer has Hello World in it, and in fact, if I wanted to get rid of it, let's see, it's complaining right now. Let's go ahead and save it, All right, so no more complaints. And I go into strings, and this hello world string I actually don't need anymore, right? So turns out I actually don't need the settings either. That had to do with the menu. So I could even delete those if I wanted to. Now, of course, if I do that, it's asking me to delete one more thing. I guess maybe I shouldn't have deleted the menu one, but why not here? So inside menu, it has main.xml. I can delete it, or I can even delete that whole folder. It shouldn't complain now. And again, I'm just trying to simplify things so we get down to the bare bones. What's it complaining about now? Probably some things that I can fix by saving. I'm going to go ahead and save the program. Errors go away, and I'm going to launch it. So I'll hit Control F11 to run as an Android application, and I'll click OK. You could have also used the little drop down here or in the Run menu. Just hit Run. Okay, I'm going to launch this on my emulator. I'm going to try my 4.3 one right here, since I had some troubles with the other one. And it says that it's launching. You can see if we get some messages here. Okay, and it finally launched. I guarantee it's much faster on an actual device here. Sometimes emulators are really slow, but of course you want to be able to see it. So I have my emulator here, and it just gives us a simple hello button MB with my icon and nothing on the screen. All right, so we've gone through basically what we get from our starting code, and we've stripped out the extra stuff and got it running. Really, the takeaway message from this is that the defaults really are pretty decent. I just ask that you put your last name or your initials in your app name if you're taking this for credit. And then for package naming, as we said, we're going to use reverse URL, right? So something like this here. And then if you want to avoid creating the support project, you go ahead and use a min SDK of at least 4.03. All right, that's it. Talk to you later.